Whoa, the last video did really good. Okay, I'll rank the birds too. You guys win. Every generation in Pokemon, there's a line of birds which you'll encounter early in your adventure and will likely remain on your team throughout the rest of the playthrough to fly you around the region like a taxi. Unlike the Route 1 rodents that we ranked last week, these Pokemon don't tend to peak early on in a playthrough and will likely be in your Hall of Fame team if they manage to keep up. Unfortunately, this isn't always going to be the case, as many of these Pokemon simply lack the stats, abilities, and move pool to continue to contribute to your team in a significant way. Although some of these Pokemon might not be as strong in a playthrough, on occasion they may end up having a niche in a competitive setting, granting them viability on that front. So today, let's rank the regional birds of Pokemon. If you enjoyed this video at any point in time, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. As a matter of fact, you should really just subscribe right now because I have a playlist full of content just like this that you can watch once this video ends. And if you think you're subscribed, do me a favor and double check because a lot of my viewers actually aren't. With that, let's get into the video, but not before a GamerSupps ad. This channel is partnered with GamerSupps. If you want to support my work and get great tasting drinks, you can order GamerSupps through my link in the description down below or with code Moxie boosted at checkout for 10% off. GamerSupps is a caffeinated product that I recommend only to my 18+ viewers, but my link will send you to their caffeine-free product section just in case. Every product purchased through my link supports my channel financially, so I'd really appreciate the support. Now back to the video. Okay, we're doing this the same way we did last time. Tier list format, considering only the final evolution of the line and excluding any Pokemon which do not fit the following criteria. Regional birds are found early on in a playthrough of a Pokemon game and evolve at least once. I'm also going to be including Pokemon which aren't really considered the regional bird, but fit the criteria by technicality. I've never seen anyone refer to Fearow as anything other than that bird in Kanto that isn't Pidgey. Also, for marketing purposes, we'll be using the first stage of each line as a mascot for the whole line. We love marketable plushies. Considering that criteria, our roster of Pokemon that will be considered for this list are the Pidgey line, the Spearow line, the Hoot line, the Tailo line, the Wingull line, the Starly line, the Pidove line, the Fletchling line, the Pikipek line, the Rookidee line, and the Wattrel line. The Pokemon on this list are ranked in comparison to each other, but we're considering their broader competitive viability, so an S-tier bird isn't always going to be an S-tier Pokemon overall. With this explanation out of the way, we can begin with... Okay, let's be honest here, it's a Gen 1 Pokemon. How far do you really expect it to get on this list? Pidgeot manages to do the bare minimum of being faster than 100 base speed to move before the likes of Chi-Yu and Urshifu. And when I say that, I really mean the bare minimum. It's 101 base speed. But even then, it manages to fumble the rest of its stats so hard that it has no future in competitive play as anything other than a Tailwind bot. But 101 base speed with no other notable features means that you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who would pick this Pokemon on their team in doubles or singles. With a base stat total of 479, its stats are distributed in such a way that it can accomplish literally nothing. It has 83 HP, 80 attack, 75 defense, 70 special attack, 70 special defense, and 101 speed. And as far as abilities go, it doesn't really have any. Keen Eye will almost never matter, as evasiveness strats are really rare to see in VGC matches and they're outright banned in Smogon singles. Tangled Feet is one of the abilities of all time, and Big Pecs will never matter since you don't really need to lower this guy's defense stat to put him in range of anything. You can just like hit it with a rock and it'll go down. Straight into F tier Pidgey goes. But Mr. Boosty, what about its Mega form? Look, Megas haven't existed in the game since Generation 7, and we're 2 generations removed from that. Pokemon Legend ZA might be on the horizon, but I don't think it's fair to consider Pidgeot's Gen 1 nepotism form when there are literally no other birds on the list that have anything equivalent to that. That being said, Mega Pidgeot is a significant step up from base Pidgeot with 83 HP, 80 attack, 80 defense, 135 special attack, 80 special defense, and 121 speed. Its speed tier is much higher, meaning it's a solid Tailwind option, but there's hardly a reason to choose it over other Megas since its power level is just that of the average Gen 7 Pokemon even after the buffs. Yes, it can't miss Hurricane with its ability No Guard, but this is also true of Pelipper. If I were to include Mega Pokemon, it'd be top of B tier though, so put it there if you guys want to complain. Okay, Pidgey's weird little brother. The Spearow line is kind of interesting in that Fearow has 37 less base stat total than Pidgeot, and somehow manages to do so much more with it. With 65 HP, 90 attack, 65 defense, 61 special attack, 61 special defense, and 100 speed, Fearow is basically just a min-maxed Pidgeot, with an ability. 100 base speed is enough to get things done game to game, even in modern generations, and 90 attack is serviceable with setup options like Focus Energy on sniper sets. Oh yeah, while it doesn't have great abilities, Sniper is enough to get a small niche in setting up guaranteed crits with a little bit more damage, as long as it's holding a scope lens and uses the move Focus Energy. Then going for pretty significant damage with Brave Bird and Double Edge. It also has coverage in Throat Chop, U-Turn, and even Drill Run, and if you're really desperate, Steel Wing. It's nothing to write home about, but it's a remarkable improvement on whatever they were going for when they made Pidgeot initially. I'm gonna be so for real here, I had to be reminded that the Hoot Hoot line even existed. I didn't realize this was Gen 2's regional bird until I was reminded by a friend that you only find it at night. Why? Because I really only played Gen 2 during the day, so I didn't realize that Hoot Hoot was something that you could find on Route 1 of that game. But regardless, Noctowl isn't quite as bad as Pidgeot. With 452 base stat total, Noctowl is still able to do more with its stats than Pidgeot was. If Fearow is min-maxed to be a fast offensive bird, then Noctowl is more of a defensive option. Defensive is in heavy air quotes there though, because 100 HP, 50 defense, and 96 special defense isn't especially bulky, but it's more than serviceable in comparison to most Pokemon in this generation. That being said, in the long run, Noctowl wasn't known for its defensive capabilities. Rather, it became known for its consistent damage output due to its hidden ability of Tinted Lens. This causes attacks from Noctowl that are not very effective to deal double damage, meaning that resisted hits are basically neutral and times 4 resisted hits are just regularly resisted. It's able to set up Nasty Plot and try to sweep with Hyper Voice and Hurricane. While the damage is really consistent, it's still nothing special, so into D tier it goes. Okay, things finally get interesting with Gen 3's Talo line. Swellow has just 455 base stat total, with it being invested as such. 60 HP, 85 attack, 60 defense, 75 special attack, 50 special defense, and a whopping 125 speed. Now this dude is finally the first sign we see of power creep in Pokemon, which is gonna sound really weird once we get to later gens, but it's true. 125 speed is faster than the vast majority of Pokemon by a long shot. While its damage output might seem lacking on paper with just 85 attack and 75 special attack, it has 2 sets which make it hit like a truck. With the ability Guts and a Flame Orb equipped, it's able to use the full 140 base power of Facade while further boosting it by 50% because of Guts. Alternatively, players in the past have opted to run it with the choice specs and the move Boom Burst, which has a natural 140 base power, but this hits off of its special attack stat. While it may be lower in power because of the difference in its physical and special attack stats, it's more consistent game to game since it doesn't have to worry about having its attack stat drop by Intimidate. Swellow certainly isn't a powerhouse, but it's far stronger than the rest of this list so far, making it our first B tier pick. Okay, people who haven't kept up with Pokemon since Gen 3 are about to have their ankles broken. Pelipper is without a doubt the strongest Pokemon on this list. Not the strongest Pokemon so far, it's going to be at the top by the end of it. Major spoilers, but it's true. It's absolutely an S tier bird. As a water flying type, it has a huge weakness to electric attacks, and while it may not have the most impressive stats with its base stat total of 440 distributed to 60 HP, 50 attack, 100 defense, 95 special attack, 70 special defense, and 65 speed, it is certainly bulky, but the stats seem a little lacking. Well, ever since Generation 7, Pelipper has had access to the ability Drizzle, which automatically sets the rain weather condition on the field when Pelipper is sent out into battle. By combining this with the fact that it has access to U-Turn to pivot in and out of the field, Hurricane which never misses in rain, and Weather Ball for massive water type damage, or whatever weather is active on the field at that time, it's clear to see why it's become the face of rain teams in both singles and VGC. Pelipper enables the likes of Urshifu Rapid Strike, Kingdra, Basculegion, and Archaludon. It's the cornerstone of a solid rain team, and it's cemented itself as one of the greatest Pokemon of all time, being even an international champion. It's our first S tier pick. The Starly line is certainly strong, but Staraptor is a strange Pokemon to discuss. It hasn't even been close to being top tier for quite a few generations now, but it's had its niches in the past. With a solid base stat total of 485, it has some numbers to play with. It's got 85 HP, 120 attack, 70 defense, 50 special attack, 60 special defense, and 100 speed. It's certainly the hardest hitter we have on the list thus far, and on top of this, it has access to 2 phenomenal abilities. Intimidate allows for Staraptor to lower the attack stat of every Pokemon on the opponent's side of the field every time it hits the field. This grants not only Staraptor, but its teammates more physical bulk overall. And by combining it with U-Turn, Staraptor can cycle in and out of battle with little issue. Its other ability of Reckless causes Staraptor's recoil moves like Brave Bird and Double Edge to have a 20% boost in power, meaning that Banded Staraptor hits like an absolute truck. But funny enough, this isn't even Staraptor's most common set. Staraptor has access to the move Final Gambit and a very impressive HP stat. Final Gambit causes the user to knock itself out while dealing damage equivalent to its current HP to the target, so Choice Scarf Staraptor was often used as a way to trade it for removing defensive walls from play. And in VGC, it would find itself as a pick on Trick Room teams by allowing the user to trade Staraptor for a KO while the partner sets up Trick Room, allowing for Staraptor to immediately be replaced with the Trick Room Sweeper on the next turn. This allows for that Trick Room Sweeper to have every single turn of Trick Room to play with. While Staraptor is certainly a stronger Pokemon on this list, it's not commonly seen these days, and it's more or less a style pick, since modern Pokemon like Annihilate do its job much better. Into the top of B tier it goes. The Pidove line is actually pretty cool, all things considered. While you might think Unfezant is meant to be the Unova counterpart to Pidgeot, it's actually more comparable to Fearow. Unfezant has a base stat total of 488, with it distributed to 80 HP, 115 attack, 80 defense, 65 special attack, 55 special defense, and 93 speed. It's not the fastest, but it hits fairly hard and tends to run crit sets like Fearow does. Only instead of having its damage increased on critical hits, its ability Super Luck makes it more likely to have a critical hit in the first place. By combining the Scope Lens with this ability, every move has at least a 50% chance to crit, except for Night Slash, which will always crit. It's not a great niche when you consider that its only guaranteed physical crit move isn't normal or flying type, but this is still notable. And a 50% chance to crit Brave Bird isn't bad either. Only thing is, it's lacking good normal stab. No double edge and the removal of return from the game means that its best normal move is Facade, which isn't great without a status inflicted on it. It's a pretty mid Pokemon, but its naturally high attack and decent speed tier puts it right at the top of D tier. Okay, raise your hands, or comment, if you've played competitive Pokemon during Generation 6. Okay, now raise your hand, or comment, if you remember Smogon Bird. Well, here he is. Who would have thought that Fletchling would evolve into one of the strongest Pokemon in Generation 6? Talonflame is a fire flying type, which steals the fastest bird title from Swellow by just 1 point at 126 base speed. Not that it needed that speed though, since its ability Gale Wings causes all of its flying type moves to have +1 priority. This means that it has priority on Roost, priority on Brave Bird, and most importantly, priority on Tailwind. You might have noticed that I didn't mention Tailwind for the others on this list. That's because, as a flying type in competitive Pokemon, it's pretty much implied that you have Tailwind. But it's especially notable when Talonflame is able to set up Tailwind before any other Pokemon can move. This means that it can even move before most Prankster taunts. In Generation 6, this was the case at any point during the match. But because Talonflame was so strong, it was nerfed in Generation 7 to only be the case when it was at full HP. You might think that this would be devastating enough of a nerf to put Talonflame into the ground, but it still saw heavy usage on VGC teams all the way up to today in Generation 9. Although its power in singles was significantly decreased now that it couldn't max its bulk out and go for priority Roost and Brave Birds, today Talonflame in VGC sees usage as a bulky Tailwind setter with access to other great support options in Taunt and Will-O-Wisp. It's got a few regional championships under its belt from the 2023 season, and it remains a powerful Pokemon in the Regulation H metagame. It lands solidly in S tier, far stronger than most of the Pokemon on this list because of its phenomenal support options. The Pikipek line is one of the Pokemon evolution lines of all time. I don't know anyone with strong feelings one way or the other when it comes to this Pokemon, and the same can go when it comes to its competitive viability. Toucannon's base stats are 80 HP, 120 attack, 75 defense, 75 special attack, 75 special defense, and 60 speed. It's not the fastest, nor is it the bulkiest, but it really doesn't have any outright bad stats. That being said, it finds its niche in its damage output and coverage options. With the ability Skill Link and access to both Rock Blast and Bullet Seed, Toucannon is able to have Rock and Grass coverage moves at 125 base power. Coming off 120 base attack, it's going to deal huge damage to the rock types which would otherwise wall it, not to mention its signature move in Beak Blast. This move heats up Toucannon's beak at the top of the turn and burns anything which makes contact with it before hitting them with a 100 base power physical flying move. That being said, it's never been a top tier in singles or VGC, but its unique properties make it a stronger pick than any of the bottom tiers. There's really no other spot for it on this list than right in the middle at C tier. Spoilers, this is our final S tier for the list. It might seem weird having 3 Pokemon at S tier, but legitimately, these 3 birds are much stronger than the vast majority of the list, and there's gotta be a tier in between them and B tier to represent that accurately. The Rookity line ultimately resulting in Corviknight was a real shock to me. Steel Flying is already a phenomenal defensive type, as was demonstrated by Skarmory in previous generations, but Corviknight took what Skarmory was capable of and mastered it. At 495 base stat total, it's the highest BST on this video, and it really shows. That Steel Flying type combined with its 98 HP, 87 attack, 105 defense, 53 special attack, 85 special defense, and 67 speed makes Corviknight a menace in both singles and VGC. In singles, Corviknight is known for its bulk, longevity, and ability pressure, which allows for it to wall out Pokemon so long that they will literally run out of moves to hit it with. It can even be a threatening sweeper if it sets up enough iron defenses to break through the opposing team with body press. This remains the case in doubles, except rather than running pressure, it uses its broken signature ability of Mirror Armor, which is basically super clear body. Rather than not having any of its stats dropped, it will reflect the stat drop onto the opponents. So if Incineroar tries to intimidate it, Incineroar will end up being the one with its attack stat cut. This makes Corviknight a menace and a powerful win condition if it manages to get its bulk ups or iron defenses off. It even has a regional championship under its belt where it won with a set that used Power Trip, where it used all of its boosts to power up the move and sweep through Pokemon like Golden Go. It's a solid S tier and I wouldn't put it anywhere else. The final regional bird is Paldea's Wattrel, which evolves into Kilowattrel. Once again, we have a bird that has nothing but phenomenal stats in Wind Power, Volt Absorb, and Competitive. Its 490 base stat total is distributed to 70 HP, 70 attack, 60 defense, 105 special attack, 60 special defense, and 125 speed. With these stats and abilities, Kilowattrel is able to run a number of sets, like Tailwind plus Wind Power plus Electro Ball, which is able to launch a nuke of a move to the opposing team, since Wind Power doubles the power of Kilowattrel's next electric move if Tailwind is activated, and it's even able to run an Anti-Intimidate set by using the ability Competitive, which will increase its special attack stat by 2 stages if the opposing Pokemon decreases any of its stats, meaning it can hit like a truck with Thunderbolt and Hurricane if it manages to get any of those boosts. While Kilowattrel has yet to really have any standout performances in a tournament, it's a very strong Pokemon with a very long career ahead of it, and it's our sole A tier pick. With that, we have the following list. In F tier, we have just the Pidgey line. In D tier, we have the Hoot Hoot line, the Spearow line, and the Pidove line. In C tier, we have only the Pikipek line. In B tier, we have the Talo line, the Starly line, and if you want to complain about me not including Mega Pidgeot, that too. In A tier, we have the Wattrel line, and our 3 S tiers are the Fletchling line, the Rookidee line, and the Wingull line. Honestly, those 3 are just like head and shoulders above the rest of them, and I just realized that they're the only 3 Pokemon on this list that I believe have a regional or international championship under their belt in the current generation. What do you think about my rankings? Did I miss anything big that could change the tiers? Let me know in the comment section below, and while you're down there, tell me what I should make a video about next. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It means the world to me. If you want to support me further, you can check out my Patreon page or become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button below the video. This gets you sneak peeks at future videos, bonus content, and access to my supporter-only Discord, where you can hang out and team build with other community members. You'll also see your name at the end of all my videos like all these lovely people. Special thanks to my most boosted supporters, Ant Media UK, Avatar67, and Kayla Thompson for their generous pledges. Another way to support me is to check out all the videos on the playlist on screen right now. I know you'll find something in there that you'll enjoy. I also have a second channel where I talk about the current VGC metagame trends, and a Twitch channel where I stream, both of which will be in the description. Or you can just tune into my YouTube streams Monday through Friday at 2 PM CST. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.